Hey truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In this video, we're going to quickly review two big fights from yesterday, September 10th, 2016, one in UFC, one in professional boxing. First, we're going to look at the UFC fight between CM Punk and Mickey Gall. CM Punk, the WWE fighter who was making his UFC debut. A few days ago, I put out a preview video. I said I wasn't going to make a prediction, but I was going to show why the debut of CM Punk was happening in Cleveland. I also made the remark that if it wasn't a rigged fight, and even if it is rigged, a 24-year-old should beat a 37-year-old. And for anyone who's in their early 20s, appreciate them, because by the time you start to approach your mid-30s, you'll see how glorious your body was in comparison. Anyhow, here's what I want to show you. I made a discovery since the fight happened that just provides further evidence of how these sports are truly scripted by the numbers. These sports, these fights. Here's reporting from February 7th, 2016. This is when the hype began for Mickey Gall versus CM Punk, which just took place yesterday. Let's read what they had to say. Mickey Gall has been built up as the first opponent of CM Punk, and after winning his UFC debut against Mike Jackson in just 46 seconds, he basically stamped his ticket to the high-profile fight. So, as I've been exposing, a lot of UFC fights are scripted to the second, a second count that has significance. In the preview video I just put out for this fight, I talked about the significance of 46 to CM Punk. And notice how the reporting of this article says because he won the fight in 46 seconds, that stamped his ticket. I mean, really, what should those things have to do with each other? But in case you missed the preview video, let me show you what's up with 46. If you're new here, sports are rigged by the numbers, and you have to know the language of numerology and gematria to catch it. That's what I teach on this channel. This is free knowledge that can be very valuable. CM Punk is born in Chicago. The new CEO of the UFC, the brother of Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, was born in Chicago. He lives in Chicago. This fight was a big tribute in part to that new ownership as well. But Chicago in gematria sums to 46. And this fight came exactly 46 days before CM Punk's birthday. And measuring from the fighters' birthdays to the date of the fight is always significant, something I'm always explaining. CM Punk's also currently 37 years old. Chicago, the small weighs 37. As I said in the preview video, 37's pretty old for fighting. And I guarantee you the reason that they had this fight, you know, a 24-year-old versus a 37-year-old, it's pretty weird. Big 13-year gap. We've been talking a lot about 13 in sports. But the reason they had this fight is just to sell to their audience the fact that WWE is not legitimate, UFC is. And in UFC, the violence is real, but the fights are often scripted. And anyone who's watched the ESPN and mainstream coverage of this fight keeps making fun of the way that the fight began, with CM Punk making a really stupid move and the UFC fighter making quick work of him. You know, for most people, this will just say, you know, the average fan will just say, see, UFC, legit, WWE, a bunch of muscle-built pretenders. And CM Punk himself, not even really that big of a guy. So get this. The 46-second point aside, the hype for this fight on February 7th came exactly 216 days before the actual fight. Remember that the Cleveland area code is 216. This year, the Cleveland Cavaliers won in the NBA Finals. The final game in Cleveland was Game 6. The score summed to 216 points, not by coincidence, because sports are scripted, and they are scripted by the numbers. The people who run the world of sports are the Freemasons, the Zionists in high places, such as Ari Emanuel, the new CEO of UFC, along with all the other names that run the world of pro sports. But check this out. CM Punk had all these synchronicities with Cleveland where his first fight was. Cleveland, Ohio, the small weight equals 62, just like his birth name, Phil Brooks. Interesting that Brooks lost and Kell Brooks lost on the same day, the two biggest fights of the day. Might be something going on there too. But Cleveland, Ohio, 62. Phil Brooks, 62. Cleveland, Ohio, the big way 125. Phil Brooks, the big way 125. Perfect match. His nickname, CM Punk, has gematria of 78, just like Cleveland, just like NBA Finals. This year, the Cleveland Cavaliers won the NBA Finals for the first time in Game 7 on the road since 1978. Plus, CM Punk was born in 78. Those initials CM for Chick Magnet. CM in Jewish gematria 33, just like Cleveland. The Cavaliers were the 33rd team to ever be down 3-1 in the NBA Finals, the first to ever come back. 3-1, basketball equals 31. LeBron James was 31 years old in his 13th season. Been seeing a whole lot of 13 lately. Earlier we saw Conor McGregor knock out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds. Jose equals 13. His birthday connects to the number 13. This Mickey Gall also fights for the Miller brothers. Miller has that gematria of 33, a fitting opponent. So that was the first fight, CM Punk, Mickey Gall, by the numbers. Even the hype came 216 days before the fight in Cleveland. The other big fight was in London, boxing. Triple G, undefeated, was going up against Kell Brooks, undefeated, but Kell Brooks came up 2 weight classes to contend for the championship, something that no fighter has ever done successfully in the last 50 years. The last time it happened was 1966. Talked about that in the preview video. In the preview video, I said I was torn on who would win, but I had a sneaking suspicion there might be an upset. The upset didn't happen, but what I said in the video, I said the one thing I can guarantee is by the end of the fight, either Kell Brooks will have his 26th knockout or Triple G will have his 33rd. And Triple G got his by way of technical knockout after a 5th round forfeit. So check this out. I want to talk about the significance of the losing fighter and why he had this fight yesterday, losing to Triple G, who is the major superstar of professional boxing, arguably the biggest sell in the sport right now. You could say Triple G is the LeBron James of boxing. So anyhow, Kell Brooks fell to 36-1. In the preview video, I talked about the significance of 19 in the date. It was a date with a double 19 numerology, something rare. The number 361 has a square root of 19. That means 19 multiplied by 19 equals 361. So the date had a tribute to his record to be. This was something I overlooked in the preview, and in the future, I'll be sure to be more thorough in my math. Whenever I get something wrong or I don't see it all the way, as I always say, this channel is a work in progress. The more people helping with the research, the more people cooperating, the further we can take it. And I'm so thankful for all the people that help. There's even more that could be. I encourage you to come to my blog, become involved with the community here. There's a good 20 people who are very bright who post here regularly, sharing information. You can learn from them. You can learn from me. You can contribute in record time. You can learn this information. The more of us that figure this out and are working to figure it out, the further we're going to progress. Right now you have to recognize I'm making sports predictions based on sports I'm not watching, fighters I've never seen fight. The only thing I really know in the world of athletics right now are the superstars like LeBron James. I couldn't tell you that many names in the NBA. I could hardly tell you any names in the MLB at this day and age. I don't know many football players besides the superstars. But what I do know is these games are scripted, and I figured out to a large extent how. There's still more to grow, there's still more to understand, and that's where I ask for the continued help. So anyhow, I talked about how yesterday's date had numerology corresponding with the gematria of chaos. To the Freemasons who control the world of sports, chaos is an important word. They believe in order through chaos. Think about what boxing is. It's like organized chaos. There's rules, there's structures, but at the same time, you're trying to destroy your opponent. And the headlines were yesterday that his opponent had to forfeit in the 5th round because his eye socket was crushed. I don't know if that's really true or if that's the hype, but I'm going to show you why I think the fight was truly called in the 5th round. That Masonic motto, order out of chaos, in Jewish gematria sums to 777. The opponent that won yesterday on the date with 19 numerology, Triple G. G, the 7th letter, GGG, 777. It was his opponent's 37th fight. And part of the reason I thought he had a chance for the upset were because of his connections to 37. His birth name Ezekiel equals 37. The word Zachary, which is also the same name, my name, Hebrew translation, Zachary also equals 37. Probably not a coincidence. Just like how Joshua is the English translation of Jesus. Jesus equals 74. Joshua 74. Yeshua, the Greek spelling 74. Anyhow, this fighter Ezekiel just turned 30 years old. This was his first fight at age 30. 30 also has the gematria of 37. In the biggest fight of his career, his 37th, he goes down to triple G, 777. The number 37, in this study of numbers, it is a way of representing the number 777. 3 sevens. 777, GGG. So in case you missed my preview video, I want to show you the significance of G and why I think the forfeiture came in the 5th round. I think that truly was part of the script. Talk about that in a moment. The main fighter, triple G. G, a very special number to Freemasonry. G in what is known as English gematria or Satanic gematria represents the number 42. 42 goes into the word Freemason. It goes into the nickname Triple G. It goes into the last name Golovkin. The reason his name is Triple G is because all 3 of his names start with a G. His last name's Golovkin, reminds of boxing glove. Even his trainer's name equals 42, which I should have put up here. The Freemasons are builders. They pride themselves on being the invisible architects of society. Architect 42, building 42. Building, it's all about measurement, math 42. Triple G. There's only 2 numbers when written out that have a gematria of 42. They're 5 and 9. And the forfeiture came in the 5th round to Triple G, making him 36-0. The last time somebody successfully accomplished what Kell Brooks was attempting to do was 1966. We talked about how that was 50 years ago and how that was somewhat favorable for Kell Brooks, but it wasn't to be. Seeing how the fights are scripted is one thing. Making the accurate prediction, that's another challenge in itself. And it takes enough information to make the prediction correctly. If you go through all the predictions I've made, where I've been least successful is in fights. And I would say in part it's because it's the sport that I know the least about. I've never seen any of these fighters fight. I don't know the narratives. I'm coming to understand just how much hype there is for Triple G. His nickname has gematria 44. I wouldn't be surprised to see this man end up going 44-0 because that's pretty much what his fans expect of him. This flawless boxing machine. And just as a reminder, a lot of these athletes are Manchurian. They are born and bred to be. In case you missed yesterday's preview, he came into the fight 35-0. It was also a date with 35 numerology. The word triple has gematria of 35. But anyhow, his birth name, Gennady Golovkin, gematria of 139, just like Freemasonry. We just saw Muhammad Ali die 139 days after his birthday by the numbers this year. Muhammad Ali equals 42. The divisors of 42 sum to 96. Muhammad Ali, the big way, equals 96. Boxing ring, 96 feet around. Also part of the reason Triple G has all this 42 coding. But anyhow, why he got his 33rd knockout and why I said that either that was going to happen or the 26th knockout was this again. From his birthday to yesterday's fight was 156 days. When you write out 33, it sums to 156. 33, the number of Freemason obsession. We're talking about a man with Freemason coding all over him getting his 33rd knockout career. He also, from his birthday, if you don't count the end date to yesterday, was 155 days connecting to welterweight, which is what his opponent had been his whole career. He came up 2 weight classes to fight at the middleweight, and he lost, as expected. For those of you who are criticizing me, I said in the video, betting on Brook is a risk, but I thought it was a risk worth taking because of the way the numbers lined up. You win some, you lose some. The point is, always learn more. Use that knowledge to better yourself next time. That's the way the game works. And I share that with you because, that's the way everything is. Not just gematria, that's the way everything is in this life. You look at the quotes from the most successful people, they learn the most from their mistakes. And I've always been that type of person. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.